So for this one, we're gonna get started on the other things. Now that we got the oil pressure gauge installed, we're gonna go ahead and do the oil pan reseal. So the reason I'm doing this is because when I originally replaced the oil pan gasket, I used, I think it was like high heat resistant gasket maker or something like that, but I just went and got liquid gasket maker, Nissan stuff. That high heat resistant one does not seal oil, that does, so I'm going to be redoing that. Should be fairly easy since I got all the new hardware and all that type of stuff, so it shouldn't be as much of a pain in the ass as the first time. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and knock that out. First things first is to get the car ready for something like that. We're going to have to get the front end up. I'm going to get the wheels off and everything because I'm going to be doing a lot of work in this area anyway, and it's going to stay up like that for a little bit. So get the front end up, get under there, make sure I have enough space, and then drain the oil. Got the car jacked up. We got all the safety precautions. I have 4 jacks, 2 tires, well actually 5 jacks and 2 tires keeping this thing from budging, just to keep me from dying. One thing I noticed after I was checking, because I did notice a little bit of a play in the suspension, so I checked the other side, but it turns out to be this side. Looks like this tie rod end is done for, unfortunately, and it's brand new. So if I actually take this and move it in and out, there you go. You can see it's got that play in it. And that's a brand new tie rod end. And we only have this on this side. It is not on the other side at all. So that sucks. But it's an ISR tie rod end. And it's not that hard to pop another one on, so should be good to go for that. And moving forward with the actual job, as far as getting to the oil pump and put the light on again, we get under here, and then we have access to the oil pump right there. You can see the gasket maker that I used. It. So it's just getting under here, undoing all the bolts and stuff. And the ones that's gonna suck are the transmission bracket ones. So I do believe it comes behind there, but that'll be the main thing. So the next step is just drain the oil out, and then we can start taking that pan off. Alright, it is freezing. Went ahead and got some more stuff, a little bit of a transitional period, but we're good to go. So the first step that we are going to be doing, as you can see, I got the drain here, and locate your drain bolt, which for the RB is right there at the bottom of the oil pan, and you're gonna loosen that. That's gonna drain the oil, and then you'll just set this underneath it and let it drain, and hope that your oil ain't looking too bad. In the meantime, I'm gonna kind of take a look underneath here, all the stuff, inspections and whatnot, just to make sure that doing this is actually gonna be pretty feasible. It looks like it will be, so I'm not too worried about that. And then we can go from there. I'll also clean off a bunch of this stuff so that after I reseal everything, it could be good to go. I'm pretty sure I could do this without having to drop the front subframe. I really hope I don't have to drop this front subframe to do this, but only time will tell. So yeah, let's go ahead and drain this oil first. and get going.
14mm bolt, by the way. I'm probably going to replace this with a magnetic drain plug as well. Alright. Well, that is some oil for you. Definitely want to make sure you don't see any flakes. So we'll probably change this, to be honest with you, because I'm just trying to make sure that this ain't contaminated. It's definitely not what I put in. So we'll check this too. But yeah, let that drain out.
Alright guys, I honestly, at this point, I don't know. I'm sick of getting all of the false alarms and scares and stuff like that, but I think this one might be legit. And yeah, like, I'm just tired of this stuff. But I'm gonna end this video off here. I'm gonna title it something different. This was supposed to be an oil pan reseal, but after looking at the coolant that's inside the oil pan clearly, as you guys can see, this is pretty much what it looks like when you have oil in the coolant. And that means that either for some reason the head gasket is blown or not doing what it's supposed to do, or the only other thing I could think of is cracking the block. And I remember I had some engine block damage from that job on this side specifically, like literally right where that bolt is, that hidden bolt. On the bottom side of that, there is some damage on the block, but there were no cracks or anything. I had looked it over thoroughly, and it goes towards the outside, and it's pretty far away from the coolant port that's next to it. So if that's causing it, I'm not sure how something that would cause it to leak outside the engine, if anything, is causing it to leak into the engine and mix with the oil. So it will have to be something else, which is what I'm hoping. But if it turns out to be a crack in the block somewhere else or something like that, I'm not really sure what to do, because I'm not about to buy another RB engine entirely, and it's extremely hard to find RB blocks by themselves, let alone in this area, that I can just grab one and do the switch. And then on top of that, if I want to do that switch where I have to pull everything out, transfer all the parts over, put everything back in, like if it had rod knock, I was gonna sell it. And that reminds me of basically how ready to sell it I was if it had rod knock. I have to do the same process if it is an engine block failure. So I'm hoping that it's not. I'm gonna start doing a little more research and stuff. Worst case scenario, I have to take off the hot side and the cold side and the valve train and all this stuff just to pull the head and see, which will also be a pain in the ass. But outside of that, like I said, I'm gonna end it here, and we're just gonna have to hope and see what's going on.